Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to thank Marge for inviting me to, I have to say, to this an amazing, diverse group here. Okay, to hear you all say how you embrace technology, and more important, to hear you say how you want to balance it with your health. I think that's just wonderful. And another key indicator, I think, is your passion to learn. And it's the passion to learn is where I introduce myself. To give you a little bit of a background. I'm a student at heart. I personally could have gone to school forever until my OSAP loan ran out. And of course, I had to start paying back my loans. So I'm a major in geography at York University. I loved it so much that I continued going to Ryerson and studied social work. And I studied this interesting field called gerontology. Okay, and I think many of you have probably heard of it. And I have found it fascinating to this very day. Although I did switch gears and decide, my dad said to me and said, have you ever thought about computers? Aha. So then I went to DeVry and I got a quick, I guess, diploma on computer science there instead of going back to university. And so I had this big handful of different, I guess, disciplines of learning. And I think that's the beauty of what we all love to do is simply to learn. So I got into computers and I just recently retired from Ernst & Young after 25 years. I only have an accounting one-on-one, so I don't know much about accounting, but I was part of their IT. And as far as IT is concerned, a lot of you have said techies are not necessarily the best communicators, okay? And the things that they build are not necessarily the most user-friendly type of things. Now, Lori, you mentioned something about report cards because my wife was a teacher who's also retired. And during the transition of going to creating report cards by hand versus going on the automated system, one of the teachers walked in after they had after the system went down and all the teachers were scrambling. He puts his report cards on the principal's table and he says, paper and pencil does not crash. And I'll never forget that, okay? Because yes, do we still hold on to physical analog type of devices? Yes, we do, yes. Now, Mark, you also talked about techies not necessarily having the user end perspective. My mom has been in a long-term home, and during the COVID, we decided to Zoom. Well, at the same time, she had a sister in Germany who she has not seen in 40 years, only by telephone, okay? Now, my mom had dementia, so that's the reason why she went there. So she wasn't able to remember everything, but I connected her with her sister in Germany with a Zoom session, and they could see each other. And I was shocked to hear my mom mouth her words, her sister, to say, Ida, it's you. I want to come visit you. Okay. So I kept Zooming with my mom, and unfortunately, she did pass away from COVID in January. Okay. But Mark, you're mentioning to Zooming with people. I was able to leverage off the people in that long-term home to continue Zooming with my mom almost to her last breath. Okay. So we can't physically be together, but there is a next best thing. And it was a beautiful moment because the technology allowed us to at least connect in the next best way. Okay. Anyways, sorry, Marge, I'm going to try and zero in more on where we're going here, but I also wanted to just mention that a lot of you are leveraging off experts when it comes to grandchildren, children, and friends, and that is very much key. And one of the things that I learned from one of the seniors, because I've been volunteering at the McConaughey Center. Has anybody ever heard of that? For the last 20 plus years. And I started a little computer club there, okay? And we've been going ever since. And during COVID, we just switched gears. We just Zoom now. So this is where I'm going to leverage off where Marge has been communicating what we've been doing. But I have to share with you a wonderful quote that a senior once told, sorry, not senior, older adult, okay? Because sometimes we don't necessarily like to be labeled as this kind of a category. But I'm sure you've all heard of this having a senior moment. I'm sure that's been used. And I think it goes for any age, because I think we all have them, especially when we try and multitask. But this lady got up in one of my classes and she says, I do not like the fact that you're saying this is a senior moment. You know what? You're right. That might not, that might just refer to your age category of 55 plus or 65 plus. So you know what she came up with, and I'll never forget this. She says, instead of saying that, can we not just say, I am having an intellectual pause? I love it because I use it all the time. I'm having an intellectual pause. Anyways, Marge, if I can share my screen, then I'd like to just show you on this particular screen, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. Can everybody see this particular email that you all get? And I'm sure you've probably seen this Richmond Hill Computer Technology Volunteers, okay? And when you click on this link, this will obviously take you to more information in terms of what we do. We meet every Wednesday as far as Zoom, and we also meet on the first and third Saturday. So in other words, the first and third Saturday, I could never tell you when the Saturday is. So that's why I decided to do this, is to say it's the first and it's the third. And that's when we meet during these times at 9 o'clock and at 10 o'clock. But we also have a weekly Wednesday drop-in session. So every week. Okay. Now, having said that, down at the bottom here, she says, please click here for more information. Well, this will actually now take you to our website, okay? And we have a wonderful group of resources, and I'm gonna just click at the bottom here in terms of us volunteers. We have a volunteer from the UK. Brian Andrews is from the UK, so he joins us virtually on all our sessions. And these are all the people that are helping us. Maybe you recognize some of them, okay? But if you want a little more background history, especially of myself on how I started this club, it goes way, way back. And if anybody knows Jennifer Ayers, she's the lady that I went and said, you know what, Ernst & Young is giving me a Mac and a PC, and can you give me some space? Well, like all great things, that we started in a basement and we worked our way up. So that's just a little background just with regards to how long we've been around, what we're about, our mission statement. But I'd like to just scroll to Marge's reference, which is actually right now, okay? Seniors Connect with Tech Courses, okay? What this refers to is about over a year and a half ago, we received a grant. It's the New Horizons grant. Maybe some of you have heard of it. And it was the first one. And we were so excited because I've been volunteering for most of my times here, but there was an opportunity to actually employ me because I am a part-time consultant. So I eagerly grasped this one, and we purchased 7 laptops. We purchased 5 Android tablets and another 5 iPads. And the idea was to put these devices in the McConaughey Center so that people can come and play with them, especially people who have never used technology, okay? Because you got to start somewhere, right? Aside from your kids and grandkids that hand it to you and say, okay, go ahead and get yourself started. But this was our idea. But of course, what we also have done, and when you click on this link, and of course you all have this email, it's going to talk about various different courses that we provide, okay? And it's part of the New Horizon grant. And we started over a year and a half ago, but COVID shut us down. But then I said, well, that shouldn't stop us. So we continued with the Zoom virtual side of things. So you're welcome to take a look at these courses, register for these courses. Again, if you click on here at the very bottom, it'll take us to our website, and what you'll get are all the courses. And watch very carefully, because under the activity code, there is a link. Those activity codes will actually take you to the course. Okay, so for example, managing digital photos using the iPad, I'm going to click on the activity code, and it takes you right with, I'm sure you're all familiar with the various different courses that you can register with. Okay, so in case there are 0 openings, please put yourself on the wish list, because I'm actually having a meeting this afternoon to raise the amount of attendees. Okay, so we're looking at adding more people, because most of the courses have already been full. There seems to be this something about free, which attracts a lot of people, and so we want to provide it to as many people as we can. So I encourage you to register for any of them, and of course, at the same time, you're welcome to join us for our sessions in terms of our first and third Saturday, our Wednesdays, because there's no such thing as a dumb question. You could be a total beginner to a total intermediate or advanced person. There's always something to learn. And one of my goals is always to provide a golden nugget. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this term. It's to provide a tip, okay? For every session, is there a tip that everybody can walk away with? And that includes no matter what level you're with, okay? And I'll give you one tip that I use in all my training sessions, because at Ernst & Young, I was a technology trainer for about 15 of those years. And one of the things that I found is, because everyone has such diverse different learning skills, that I start this off with every one of my courses, from the very first, how to start up a computer, how to use a mouse, how to use a tablet. And I start this by saying, I'm not here to teach you about the iPad, because I teach an iPad course as well. I'm not here to teach you about Windows. And they all look at me and say, are we in the wrong class? I said, no. I said, I'm here to teach you about something more important than the technology, and that is a word called confidence. And you've all talked about it, okay? I've said, you all have a wealth of experience. You have taught your children and your grandchildren how to ride a bicycle, and you know how hard it is to fall 5 times before you do eventually get on that road. So you've got a wealth of experience. The difference is, it's just a different tool. And once you learn this tool, you'll be so excited. And it's that excitement moment that I found so rewarding, I guess, because to have beginners come into the class after learning how to email, they suddenly became teenagers. Did you get my email? Oh, I got your email with a picture in it. I got this, I got this. So in other words, the beginning is always a bit of a struggle. We all know that. But once that learning curve gets going, it becomes a lot of fun. And you've all pretty well have said it, how much fun you've enjoyed technology. But Marge, I could talk forever. So I'm going to kind of cut myself just to say that thank you very much for having me join this particular session. And I'm excited to participate in it, and look forward to maybe hearing and having you join us for one of our Saturdays or Wednesdays, or possibly even these courses that we're now offering. So thank you.
Thank you, Gally. Okay. Thank you so much, Jurij. You're a great presenter. And I think this has been a good morning. Our question led into this. I'm really hoping we have some questions and comments, and people saying, yeah, I'm going to sign up for your course. I'm going to do come to your things, because I think we've all convinced ourselves this morning that we can do technology. It's good for us. It's liberating, etc. So again, thank you, Jurij. That was a great presentation. Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments from anybody there? Mary Jane.
Yeah, my question is, I just have a simple Android phone, and I have a couple of apps on it. But they always say, well, you know, there's an app for this, and install that, an app for this, and install that. And I thought, oh, how do you do this? I don't want my phone cluttered up with all of this and taking up space. So I have Viber, I have Libby, and I think I have one other one for my bike riding. But like Strava, I don't want to download that because everybody knows your name and where you live and where you've been. So any comments, suggestions on that?
Hi, Mary. You ask a very common question, and I get the same question when it even comes to what device should I buy? What is better? It's really a personal preference, but when it comes to apps and managing your storage, most devices will have enough. I mean, you only listed 3, believe it or not. There's people that have 30, 40, 50 different apps, and there's still ample space, depending, of course, on the device that you have. But you said something really important, and that is, what's the credibility or the reliability of using this? You know what? My typical response is the good old-fashioned word of mouth. Don't follow the advertisements. I mean, there's advertisements that tell you to click here. Don't even go there, okay? It's best to actually talk with people that you know. I use one of the biggest librarians in the world, and whenever I mention that, everybody in the whole audience then knows who that is, okay? Mr. Google, but that's not always reliable as well, because Google then starts to monitor what you're researching, et cetera, et cetera. So word of mouth, I would say, is probably your best. Someone that you know that actually uses it, because sometimes these products have reviews, and we all know these reviews are stacked by people with positive and negative comments. So Mary, I hope that kind of guides you at least in a direction of something that's okay. If 3 or 4 people of my friends or cohorts or somebody uses it, and maybe get them to even show you how it works, that would be my best suggestion.
Thank you for that, Jurij. Any other questions or comments from anybody? I think we've had Fazia.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. So Jurij, thank you so much for your presentation. I really enjoyed it. And I'm really happy to know that there is help out there for people like me. Mm-hmm. I'm actually in the process of helping a community services with a research project. And I was wondering if you offer some training for softwares like NVivo or doing qualitative research on Microsoft. Would you be able to help?
Mm-hmm. I have used Microsoft. Of course, Ernst & Young has taught me the whole slew. And believe it or not, I learned the Microsoft products not because I had to use them, but because I had to troubleshoot them. Right. I would get called by administrative assistants, executive assistants. By the way, we don't call them secretaries. I hope everybody knows that. That's a no-no word. So administrative assistants, executive assistants, they were the power users. And that's how I learned about how these products are done. But I don't think I would, at the moment, at least in the next, I'm going to say in the next 1.5 to 2 years, I would be able to, put a course together for something like that. I am focused on the Richmond Hill computer technology volunteers, and that's where we do put courses together. But those are small tidbits of workshops and stuff like that. So, unfortunately, as much as I think it would be quite interesting, I won't be able to help you, but thank you for asking.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I encourage people to explore it, to drop in. Define out what you don't know, and how, it's, we've all looked back at our journey with technology. Like, I remember back in March and April, it was both Peter, Dennis, and Susan Kagan who had to push and nudge me to start Zoom. I don't think I want to do this. And as we all said, we're doing many Zoom meetings all the time. So again, it's a resource we have. Let's use it, empower us. There are people that say, "Oh, I'm too old to use technology," and it's not age, it's mental attitude that you have for doing it, and we need to accept that. So I challenge all of you, just when you hear someone say, "I'm too old to do it," no, you just are, it's the wrong, change your attitude. Say it in a nice way, but I think that point has to be made, that age, and Jurij has said it, others have said it, it's we actually have a lot of experience, and we've learned a lot in our lifetime, and we will continue learning. And so I'm hoping some of the courses, Doreen, I'm hoping you end up getting into that genealogy course. I'm thinking, Bev, you need to go into that course about getting your photos off of iPad and being better at that. There's many of you who I think would like it. The brain games, I've heard great things about them. Hugh, I think that's something that you might like with some of your friends to do that. So we have these resources sitting here at our fingertips. Let's use them. And Mark, I'm hoping you can spread the word over at Hesperus. I think they can really, there's many people that you're involved with that are great learners that can just use that extra nudge, encouragement. And Jurij, I love your style for presenting. It's just a very, you're not intimidated, and that so often is, I think, a problem that we have.
Thank you.
Peter, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to say that I'm a big fan of Calvin and Hobbes as well, Jurij. And that kind of sets a tone, I think.
Yeah.
Jurij, I was wondering if you have a preference among the various browsers, Edge, Firefox, Chrome, that sort of thing.
Yeah, Peter, it's a very good question. By the way, my wife bought me about 3 books of Calvin and Hobbes about 25 years ago. So I still have the hard copy. I still want to hold on to them. As far as browsers are concerned, Microsoft obviously uses Edge. Hopefully no one's using Internet Explorer anymore, because security-wise, that could be an issue. But obviously we have people that use Firefox, that use all kinds of different browsers. One thing that I don't know if anybody's familiar with, but depending on the browser that you use, all depends on the web developer who created their website. Because whoever creates a website has to make it, and I don't mean to get too technical here, but has to make it compatible with each of these browsers. And because sometimes people, they try and get onto a website and then they click on a link and suddenly it doesn't work. Therefore, it's always a good idea to try a second browser. So I always recommend using 2. I personally use, I'm trying Edge, okay? I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I'm trying it because it's built in with Windows 10. It has security features in it, so it is strong and stable. And of course, Google Chrome. Okay, so I go between the 2. What I find really important is that you clear out everything, no matter what browser you use. Clear out your cache. I'm sure you've all been taught how to do at least kind of some of those fundamental basics. Otherwise, join me on a Saturday or Wednesday. We'll definitely talk about some of those things. So I can't say I prefer. I've used Firefox. There's a whole slew of them. It depends maybe for what purpose you're using them as well. And Peter, I'm not sure if it's for any specific reason. Zoom somehow prefers Google Chrome, okay? They kind of say, look, if you want to have a best experience, then we recommend using Google Chrome. So again, depending on the application. Hopefully that kind of answers your question, Peter.
It does, Yuri, and thank you very much. Just a little side note, I worked with KPMG for 10 years, and I have a feeling for what you've been doing.
Well, thank you, Peter. And one thing I did forget, I actually worked for 7 years globally. And what that meant is, about 15 years ago, they sent me home. They said, okay, you're now on a global team. You represent Canada. And they gave me this wonderful desk that goes up and down, just for your back, because health is a really important factor in terms of moving. And I worked for 7 years and learned what it was like to have the right mindset. And that's what I'm hoping they educate people nowadays. Don't work in your living room or in your kitchen for 8 hours a day. Have a separate office, have a place you walk into, and when you walk into that place, your mind walks into that mindset as well, no matter what kind of a job you have. And I found that was a key, let's call it a golden nugget, because once you step out of that room and go to the fridge, well, that's now the coffee room, okay? But then nobody goes with you. So thank you, Peter. You obviously understand the culture of these firms here.
Very good. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Mary Jane, you wanted to say something again?
I like what you said about clearing your history. Every night I go in and I clear in history and I clear the browser.
Okay.
And I think that's really important. And any emails that are redundant, whatever, I just delete everything. So try to keep things as smooth as possible. But deleting the browsing history to me is key.
Okay.
Yes,
I think Carol had a question there too. Carol?
Hi. Thank you so much. Your presentation is very amazing.
Thank you.
I think everyone aware of the next year will be the provincial and municipal election again. I think maybe mostly is online voting. So I think it's a good idea. We can start from now, how to do kind of polish our technology and echo. And I hope we will participate in the cast your vote through the internet.
Yes.
I wonder, do you have any program for social media marketing, or how to do something for the politician? Is a good politician good idea for gain more kind of support from social media?
Mm-hmm. Carol, you're asking a very I feel like I'm walking on a wire when it comes to that question, because there is no right answer when it comes to politics. As we've all obviously heard in the media, there's concerns. Okay, is there a next best way to dropping that piece of paper in there? There has to be, because we're evolving in one way or another, and you could be living anywhere around the world and still vote, okay? And it's a beautiful concept, but security is obviously a very big factor here, okay? And forgive me for going back to Mary Jane, I think keeping your device, and when I say device, by the way, when people join us for our Zoom sessions, one of the first things I ask them all is, before you ask your question, what device are you using? Because every device is independent of the purpose of what you're using, okay? Clearing your cache, clearing all this keeps you secure. Seeing an email that says, oh, you need to update this, click here. No, don't click here. Go to the website that you know how to get to that particular place and do it manually, and then update what you need to do. So we unfortunately have to be taught a bit of an armor to protect ourselves, but vice versa. And this is something that we've had many topics about security and, you know, getting attacked and information being stolen. I always flip it around to say, what did we teach our children the first time they went downtown? Stay on the well-lit areas. Don't go down the dark alleys. Even though they look tempting, stay on the main lit areas. We ourselves are accountable for our own security as well. Instead of depending someone else to keep us secure, it's up to us to do the same thing. And I know I'm not answering your question, Carol. Is there an app that allows you to stay secure? It's a really good question. What I suggest is what they've always taught me in university. When you get a source of information, never believe it until you validate it. I used to look in the books of when that book was published and look up the publisher to make sure that source was reputable. And is everything 100%? No. Therefore, you've always got to look at multiple different sources before you actually validate something. So it's a research process, Carol, you know, listing the different ones, what's out there, specifically in Canada maybe, okay? Because can we learn from other systems in another country? And yes, we can. Again, unfortunately, I'm not answering your question other than it would take a lot of research to identify a product there.
But I think, you know, we have the resource. It's here in Richmond Hill. One day we'll be going back to McConaughey Center. You know, we ought to use it. We ought to be part of what is happening, spread the word, encouragement to others to use the technology. It's the idea of change. So this morning's gone by quite quickly. Any passing comments? Doreen, I didn't realize you were such an educated computer science person. Are you laughing at us all? And you next week, you're up, so yes. Oh, Doreen, you're on mute. Doreen, you're on mute?
And me.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, no, not laughing at anyone,
Okay.
but always interested because I do have a lot of friends who, from the church who are elderly and mid 80s, and they want to use it, and they're always like, Doreen, can you do this? How do I do that? Which thing do I press? Which one's return again? So I think it's great that everyone wants to use it. That is so important because there's so much out there that's fun and entertaining and keeps you less bored. You can even do online fitness classes, that some of which that are free. So
Yes.
all the better to do it instead of sitting at home and by yourself and feeling bad.
Very
Thank you, Doreen, for saying that. If I could just plug one more thing, Marge, we can always use volunteers, by the way. Hint, hint. There's always room for volunteers, and I've heard a wealth of experience in this whole room here. So if anybody's interested, feel free, and you're welcome to contact me, Marge. You're welcome to give my email.
Thank you.
And even my phone number, and I'd be glad to talk to you.
Yeah, I hope more of us take advantage of this opportunity to explore, to be part of it. So Jurij, I am very glad that you came, you joined us. We want you to come back again. We do have this every Tuesday and different talks, but your talk today was certainly so worthwhile for all of us. I think we all just a little more enriched, positive, and that's the purpose of these Tuesday morning get-togethers. So thank you again. So any last minute comments and questions from anybody? Okay, I know a number of you I'm going to see during the week. Yes. Thank you, everybody. Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, Marge.
Yes.
Thank you, Marge.
Oh, thank you, Nowickyj. Sorry, I almost forgot about you again.
It's okay. Don't worry.
It happens.
It happens sometimes. That's
Yes, I think I do. I treat my good friends the worst.
Thank you so much, Marge.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank
you.
Take care.
Bye, yeah.
Have a great day.
Yes, thank you.
Have a great day. Take care.
We're all
Stay.
encouraging each other. So that was
Thanks,
great.
Marge.
One thing I've learned is I can quickly take the Zoom recording and make it into a YouTube. I have a template for making a thumbnail, so I should have that to you shortly, and then I can.
Wow.
Good.
So
Mhm.
yeah, it's just an easy way of getting us out there. So
Yes. Yeah.
there's a need for that. Yeah, no,
Yes.
very worthwhile.
That's
Maureen.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was
Thank you.
great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Please come back again. I know you're busy some Tuesdays, but not every Tuesday.
If you can include me in your newsletter.
I'd love to. Perfect. I will do that. Okay.
Okay. Great. Great. Okay. Thanks, Marge.
Thanks. Thank you.